Hello everyone and welcome to part 1 of the Diploma in Web Development course here at Shaw Academy. Today is lesson 1 and we will be covering the web development full stack. My name is Julian Quirk and I am the web development educator here at Shaw Academy. Hello to everyone who's saying hi in the chat box. It is good to have you all here. So as I said guys, today's class is the web development full stack. So what we're going to be doing is having a brief overview of everything that we will be covering in more detail in the next 7 lessons after this class. So social media and stuff like that, but more details on that later. Then guys, we'll get into the meat of web development itself. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about what web development actually is, because most of you guys will likely know what it is you've gotten yourselves in for the next 4 weeks, but some of you guys might not be exactly sure what is involved with web development. So I'm going to briefly cover, guys, what is involved in that. Then, guys, we're going to have a look at all the individual components of a web application, which is what we want to be able to build at the end of this 4 weeks. We'll also talk about the different kinds of content that are available on the internet. So web developers generally focus on web applications, but you can also get static websites and other kinds of content available on the internet. And I'll be discussing the different kinds of content that are available. Finally, guys, we'll finish the class with an introduction to HTML and CSS. As web developers, we'll need to know how HTML and CSS work so that we can interact with it, and we can also interact with web designers who are mostly in charge with the front end. So I'll be giving you guys a brief overview of what's involved, and then in lesson 2 we'll be going into more detail about HTML and CSS, and we'll build our very first static web page in that class as well. Okay guys, the first things first, I want to talk about the value of a website. And before we do that, I kind of want to talk about actual websites, because some of you guys may not know what a website is. A website, guys, it is a location, sort of a metaphorical location on a server, which is connected to the internet, and it contains one or more web pages. Now, what I mean by this, guys, is that a single web page is a single file on a computer, and a website is a logical grouping of those web pages. Finally, it's on a server which is connected to the network that is the internet, and by doing that, it means that this particular website is accessible to anyone who's on the internet. Alright, so guys, you might have heard that we've got, newspapers and shops, books that you can read. Now, this is something that used to be the only way to communicate products, information, ideas, up-to-date information, textbooks if you want to learn, and all of that exciting and fun and interesting stuff. However, guys, that is no longer the case, because we've now got the advent of the digital age and the internet. So all of these things, information and knowledge, products and services, and entertainment, or to put it simply, trade of any kind, trade of information, trade of products, trade of services. All of this, guys, it used to be done in a traditional way in a real world place. But now, with the advent of the internet, we can go to a place on the internet from the comfort of your own home. Just to put this into a little bit of perspective, can you guys tell me what Amazon does? What is the service that Amazon provides on the internet? It's not an actual place, it's a website on the internet. But what does Amazon do for its website visitors? I'm just going to wait for a couple of seconds because I know that there is a stream delay of about 3 or 4 seconds. There we go, we got retail, online store, delivery, trade, robs me of my money from gym. We got sells products, big store, sells books, online platform for buying different products, subscription services, very good. It actually does a lot of things, but yes, guys, the general consensus is that it's a retail online store. We've also got the New York Times, and what do you guys think about the New York Times? What does that do as a service? The New York Times, of course, is a website that you can access as well, apart from being a newspaper. There you go, provides news, information, news, paper shares news. So it's up to date, it's information that it's giving us online. Of course, we have Google. Now, this is a slightly more difficult one, guys. What does Google do for its users? Instead, Amazon provides a product, that's standard. The New York Times provides information, that's standard. What about Google, guys? It's a search engine, that's absolutely correct. We've got sales database, that is also correct. More on that later. We've got search engine, SEO, indexing of the web. That's a great answer. Very good. Collect data too. So guys, yes, to summarize what you're saying, it's a search engine, and it's a search engine that works because it's actually categorized all the web pages that it can find on the internet. And that's the service it provides. It organizes the internet for its users, and it gets paid very well to do so. Just a quick sort of primer for our lesson on revenue. Google's users are worth €12 per user to anyone who's willing to buy that information. That's how much money information is worth to another tech company. Then, of course, we got companies like YouTube and Shaw Academy. Of course, YouTube provides video content and Shaw Academy provides education. So there's really no limit to the kind of services or products that a website or a web application, as we'll be seeing in a moment, actually can provide. So Google is everything. Education from Household, yes, absolutely, guys. Education. Online learning is the newest and the greatest form of learning because it's information accessible from the comfort of your own home. What is web development? Well, web development, it refers to building, creating, and maintaining web content online. And it also includes web design, web publishing, web programming, and database management. Literally everything to do with online website building is part of the web development full stack. So, for some of you guys, you may be asking, why is it that I should be learning web development? Maybe I should be doing web design instead. Maybe I should be doing graphic design, this and that. Even if it's related to website building, well, web development, guys, it covers it all. So what I'm going to do now is give you a quick comparison of a few things inside web development, and then I'll finish off with a summary of web development itself. So first thing I want to do, guys, is compare the difference between a web page or a website. Obviously, you guys have all surfed the internet before, or else I guess you would not have found Shaw Academy and gotten yourself signed up for this course. But guys, websites aren't just a website, they're divided into what's known as a web page. A web page is a document that is written in HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it is a way of describing content. So a web page simply is a document that is written in this language in such a way that a browser and search engines are able to understand them. A website, on the other hand, is a collection of web pages, and as a result, it is a collection of HTML pages. So web pages and websites, guys, they're all accessible through the internet using a web browser. It doesn't matter if you're using Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox or even an Internet Explorer. All of these web pages that you're building are accessible from any browser, any modern browser at least. Some of you guys are here because you want to be web designers. Some of you guys are here because you want to be web developers. Well, I would like to clarify the difference between the two. First things first, web design and web development, they all are under the umbrella of web development, the full stack. However, there is a difference between the role of a web designer as a job and the role of a web developer as a job. So let me just go through exactly what these differences and similarities are now. So a web designer rather, is in charge of the look and feel of a website. So this includes everything from the colors that are on a web page, to the fonts, to the way the web page is laid out, to the navigation of your website, to all the menus. Things like how many pages it should have, how to make the site easy to navigate, and so on. They generally have a design background, so they use the design and the structure-based coding languages such as HTML and CSS and a little bit of JavaScript in order to add interactivity. A web developer, on the other hand, is going to have a broader range of IT skills. So web developers, they generally go beyond just the presentation of web content. They're more responsible for adding functionality and infrastructure to a website. So they basically make sure that the website does what it's supposed to do. To put it simply, a web designer is the person who deals with the visual design and layout, Whereas the web developer, he takes that design and vision from a static design to a fully working website that's online and available to the world. Web developers are usually more programming focused and will also do things like creating databases, setting up web servers, and of course sorting out